Awesome, awesome.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to, well, what should be Impel's adoptable reviews, but right now he's muted because he's busy or something. So, while we wait for that, we're gonna be reviewing on Ironshadows characters, which he suggested. And the unfortunate part is that his organization skills are messy, so we're gonna have to work with what we can. But anyways, so let's start off.
It is.
Let's start off with Eris. So go ahead.
Yeah, so Eris is the main character of my comic, The Alpha Humans. Uh, how's my audio, by the way?
That's good.
Oh yeah, it's good. I can hear it.
Okay, because I've got a lot of people sitting here nearby, so I don't want to disrupt. But yeah, she's the main character of my comic, The Alpha Humans, and she is a magic hammer wielder, as you can see there. And she's kind of a little bit tomboyish, you know. She's got amnesia, and she's still kind of figuring out where she is as far as like her superpowers and what's going on with that. And you know, I've got 3 chapters worth of comic that you can go and read right now. Shameless plug, shameless plug, shameless plug. Yeah, she's a fun character. She's actually one of my newer characters that I've created.
Really?
I created her 3 years ago when I started work on the Alpha Humans. She was actually created purposefully for the Alpha Humans comic.
Interesting.
I see. So just to get like an idea for the audience, is that right?
In what way?
You know, starting out new, like getting adjusted to the world, like because you gotta introduce your setting, of course.
With that, and I wanted to, how do I put it? I wanted to start with a blank slate as far as, you know, characters for the new comic. I didn't want to reuse my older characters for it.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and created her specifically for this.
And you said that she was inspired by Valkyries, right?
Yeah, so initially I had this idea where one of my older characters would actually have the magical armor that Eris has and the hammer. But somewhere along the line I was like, yeah, no, you know, I think there needs to be an actual purposefully created character for that rather than redoing another character. So I went ahead and I created Eris specifically for that. And yes, she is based off of Norse Valkyries.
Hmm.
Although canonically in universe she is a fan of Thor.
Yeah, which I thought was her inspiration.
And everybody says that, but no, she was actually based off of the Valkyries.
I guess I'll also put in my shameless plug here. Because I did implement these characters for Deviant Art, for Deviant Theater. So here is my version. So I did try to like keep her true to form. One of the issues I had was the wings that she has on her ears. That was probably the most difficult part, so I just decided, you know what, I'll just turn it into like a cute like hair bow. Which would help solve the problem. And I gave
the wings are a bit difficult to do. You know, they're a pain sometimes depending on the angle.
And I made her hammer very huge, about as huge as a claymore, to fit with Genshin standards. But yeah.
Right.
But I mean, like, Mysterious Ramen Heroes has kind of like a very slapstick nature. So, kind of fits.
Yeah, it works.
Alright. Next, we have Haley.
Oh yes. How very relevant considering that Impel and I just launched a new comic that stars Haley. So very, very relevant.
Well, she hasn't been introduced in the comic right now.
Not yet, but she is the main character of Eclipse Adventures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Haley, the Purple Princess.
Purple.
She is she is a fan favorite from a long time ago. One of my earliest characters, well, more or less mine. A friend of mine back in middle school actually created her initially, and then kind of after a while, Haley just ended up being my character, and I ended up changing up a few things about her and altering a few backstory bits and making her my own. So she's kind of one of the first characters I ever adopted, I guess you could say.
See.
And she's been my character for golly, 18 years, I think.
Oh.
18 years.
Probably like older than Threadman.
2006.
Oh shit, yeah. Way older.
Oh, yes. I mean, I only got Bubble Girl since 2016.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, and based on that, you can probably guess how old I am, but you know, shh, quiet. So yeah, Haley has been. I mean, she's gone through a few different iterations. I don't know how much you guys know, but I do have actually previous versions of my comic floating around in the ether. There's Eclipse, the comic. Then there's Eclipse Unleashed. Then there's Eclipse Legend. And then the Alpha Humans was the reboot of all this, kind of bringing everything into the same standard. And Haley, up till now, has been absent. But I have been bringing characters in as we get to go. And just one second, I'll be right back. Sorry.
Alright. So, for my version, so I had to try and take a lot of inspiration from, like, all the previous versions that Iron had made. Of course, the most important thing was giving her a mask. But, yeah, this was kind of a little bit difficult. I feel like she kind of just ended up being more...
She actually does have a mask. Sorry to interrupt.
No. But, yeah.
She actually does have a mask.
I feel like she's kind of more of a mage.
This is the most accurate out of all the ones that you've done. This one is the one that is the most like exactly what I did, and I love it.
Well, I'm glad.
So, but yeah, sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that I feel that I've designed her to be more like a mage and like more fantasy RPGs. Well, I guess I could have made her more like a mage if I gave her a witch hat. And then... No, never mind. Anyways. Let's get on to my favorite. Tide.
Yes, Kai Kala. Yeah, she's actually one of my favorites as well. I've had Kai Kala since 2008. I created her that summer after I graduated high school.
Really interesting.
Yeah, and I was like, you know, I was really into Avatar: The Last Airbender at the time, and I really wanted to create a character that was like a waterbender, but you know, a superhero. So that was where the first concept for her came from.
Interesting.
Hang on, I actually I'll send you a link to my old DeviantArt that has the first picture of her.
Okay, I'll be sure to share it.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. There's the link.
Alright.
I see.
He really does look like a
so that's-
surfer.
Very completely different. Like, I think it's I would say it's her newer outfit actually has a bit more glue.
That's the very first version of her that I ever drew, actually.
It's
Well, I do prefer the more modern version.
Yeah, she's cool. I like her. I like how she is now. But yeah, she's kind of this innocent, cute, like slightly shy character. You know, got the water powers, so she's a bit more go with the flow. She is Hawaiian, which I did make a point of pointing out. Here's another evolution of her. And she actually was, for a time, actually paired up with another character that I created at the same time.
Should have made this her summer outfit.
I may redraw that. It's very old. I may have to redraw that. Let's see, it was 2010. So.
Yeah. So, obviously I implemented her. My intention was to make her the Kamisato Ayaka of the series. Which, they're pretty similar to each other. Because, like, you did say that, like, she dreams of traveling around the world and that she has ice powers.
Yep, and she's a huge fan of classic movies like Casablanca and, you know, some of the old horror movies like House on Haunted Hill and The Thing.
Did they where the Earth stood still?
Yes, that too.
Hmm. But yeah.
Yeah, she loves the old black and white movies.
She is one of my favorites. I do hope to implement her into Deviant Theater, and as I've shown with the character study, I do want her to I do want her and Tsunami Man to kind of have like a sibling-like relationship.
Okay, that'll be interesting. She doesn't have any siblings
Yeah.
in the actual continuity, but it'd be interesting to see.
It's a sibling-like relationship.
Right.
Yeah. I guess next, let's do Solaris.
Yeah, she's gonna need a full-on character sheet eventually.
So, I'm assuming that a majority of you probably did not watch the previous part, meaning you're a dummy. So, maybe let's, like, give it the more, abridged version of, what had happened and stuff.
Just to abridge it, basically, during one of Impel's character auctions, Impel sold me a character that Otaku here really, really wanted, and we ended up making a trade where he got the character and I got part of one of his characters.
And
that part was Solaris.
Yep. And joke's on me! I implemented her into Deviant Theater along with her older sister and made a comic. But yeah.
You're gonna laugh, but Solaris is the older sister.
Wait, really? Wait, didn't you tell me that Lucent was the older sister?
No, you guessed. You guessed. I never said, actually.
Really? I could have sworn you told me.
Yeah. Nope.
So the younger sister is a bit taller, isn't she?
I wrote it.
They're actually twins.
Well, looks like I gotta change
They're
it.
actually twins.
Oh, right. Oh, right, twins.
Yeah. She's older than her sister by about 20, 30 minutes.
But yeah. It's just very funny how circumstances happen, but that is sort of the reason why I had to update Photon Woman's design. But I mean, like, story-wise, like, the redesign is kind of there to, like, show that she's now a lot more happier, now that she's free from Project Luna.
Right.
So,
Makes sense.
with this redesign, I know Iron gave her a domino mask, but I'm still insistent on keeping the goggles just to, like, differentiate her. But other than that, I did my best to, like, keep her true to form without being too complex. But, like, there is, like...
I have an older version, like the original design for her sister, somewhere in here. I'm looking for it right now. But I actually did design Lucent a while ago. When I acquired Solaris, I was like, yeah, you know what, this is perfect. Let's make them sisters.
Maybe that's where I thought, like, oh, Lucent is probably the older sister.
Right. That's probably where. I could have sworn I had it in here. Huh. Well, I can just send you a picture on Discord.
Alright, that's fine.
Have it on there. Oh, and I actually do have a picture of the original version of Eris. Even though we've already covered her, if you want to go back and show that eventually, I can show you that as well.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, here we go. So, this one is from 2021. There you go.
Yes.
So a little bit of a redesign.
I will say, when I first saw her, she reminded me of the Invisible Woman. So when I was gonna design Lucent, or I guess implement her, I was almost gonna do that, but I decided, no, I should try and, like, keep it, like, true to form. So, yeah.
I think it worked out well this way.
But yeah,
Any questions about the characters or any other commentary on them?
well, for, Deviant Theater, Solaris and Lucent. For Solaris, I am planning to have her interact with Photon Woman. They are probably gonna be rivals. I could probably also see her, clashing heads with Knife Hand and Sheer Hand. Because, you know, both of them are sisters. And I could probably see Solaris, like, trying to hit on Tsunami Man. And that would... I think you could probably see where I'm going with this.
Maybe a little bit.
But yeah, I really enjoy them. So let's see. Oh shit, I got rid of...
We'll get to see them soon. I actually name-dropped Solaris in the first page of Chapter 4.
That is right. And I cannot wait. Okay, I guess let's do Incredible. This character I actually like.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome. I like Incredible. So, Incredible was actually designed. I was doing a challenge last March, actually, to design 30 characters in 30 days. And she was one of the characters that I designed in that challenge.
Hmm.
So it's been about a year since I created her.
What was the inspiration?
You're gonna laugh, but Invincible was one of them. Just the idea of, like, a teen, like, getting superpowers, what would that be like?
Oh, I see.
You know,
Does make sense.
yeah, and kind of remembering, like, some of the early stuff with Mark, where he, like, jumps off of the roof to fly or whatever, and, when he first discovers his super strength, that kind of thing. It was really cool. I really like the Invincible comic.
I only saw the first season of the show, and I do like how he the first time he actually noticed super strength, he was actually throwing trash like in the bin, and he accidentally
Yeah, that happened in the comics.
accidentally threw it like all the way to the UK.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Interesting. I thought Incredibelle's inspiration came from like Supergirl and Power Girl. But no, it makes sense.
Maybe the boob window. Although I am thinking of getting rid of the window.
No! You like the window? That's what I did in my version.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting rid of the window.
No. Well,
So
I'm gonna keep the window.
Before she appears in the series, her costume will probably experience a few tweaks.
Aw. Well, I'm keeping the window. No questions. All right.
I do have 4 characters that are relevant for the 4th chapter of the Alpha Humans. They are more important if you want to do them first. I just hit send on Discord.
Well, right now I'm kind of like going through like the characters I've implemented into Deviant Theater, so we'll get to them later. Don't you worry.
Okay.
Next up is Elastica.
Yes. My first Elastic superhero character. So, with her, I kind of wanted to create a variety for the team. We'll get to Mr. Liberty.
Don't worry.
Yeah, Impel's over here talking on our shoulder. He's in chat. So, I actually have a superhero team that will be introduced later called the Minutemen. And Elastica is one of the founding members of the Minutemen. She is actually one of the heroes that was created way back in the events that are taking place in the newly launched comic Eclipse Adventures.
So we'll see her soon, right? Or
the beginning. Well, no, not yet. She's present, but we don't see her on screen. So the beginning of the comic features something called the Ranger Incident, which is where a United States carrier group, led by the carrier USS Ranger, encounters a meteor that crashes into the ocean and releases a wave of radiation that causes several characters, including Bill Wallace, Mr. Liberty, to gain superpowers. That is the first Alpha Humans. This character, Elastica, Kate Clementine, she's one of the characters that was present there in the carrier group. So she was in the Navy at the time.
Interesting.
And she got her stretchy powers at the same time that Mr. Liberty got his Superman power set.
Hmm.
We'll talk more about him when we get to him. Elastica, she's got your typical, power set as far as stretchy powers go. She can't stretch infinitely. She's probably closer related to like what we see from like Elastigirl. This is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Limited shapeshifting, stuff like that. She's not quite as powerful as Plastic Man, at least at this point.
But she can still do some, like some fancy tricks, like a long
she can do fancy tricks.
a long punch, maybe like a long jump.
Right.
Yes. And maybe
And she could like turn herself into a parachute shape, if she's like falling, that kind of thing.
yes.
I mean, elastic powers are really like limited by two factors. They're limited by like how far they can stretch or how much they can manipulate their body's like molecular structure and the character's imagination.
True.
Great.
So I implemented her. Tried keeping her true to form. I also wanted to like try add like a little bit of like yellow to her costume, but Iron was insistent that I had to keep it true to form. And I altered her hair because I wasn't really happy with what was presented here. So I give her more cute.
I may change her hair a little bit before we see her actually appear in the comic.
Yeah. Because, like, I want to show, like, a little bit of cuteness to her. Like, that's kind of the thing with most Elastic heroes within Deviant Theater. Like, you got Elastic Woman, and, Zalix, Annabelle Armstrong.
It gives it a more mature look. Yours just looks like 20 years younger.
Oh, well, hello, Impel. Are you ready to do the adoptable review?
No, I'm gonna go to the gym and pump some iron, and then I'll come back.
Are you serious?
Dude, I was ready 3 hours.
Oh my god.
Yeah, whenever he and I miss a call, he always goes to the gym.
Yeah. That was yesterday, I think. No, that was 2 days ago.
Yeah. Well, we didn't miss it. You just, it was just later in the day.
Yeah, but honestly, it's Iron's day. Why not? Let's give Iron some stuff.
So which one did you want to cover next?
Oh, wait, really?
Why don't you guys do a read through with Iron's, at least Iron's comic? Is that, and you just start seeing the characters.
If you want to do that another day, that would be great. I think we should do one thing at a time. Also, I'm about to be driving back home.
Oh, okay.
What was the next character you wanted to cover? If you just give me a few minutes to pay the people and get my car keys, I can talk hands-free while we drive. I can just kind of imagine what you're showing on the screen.
Next one is, Ignitia. The Flynn villain.
So she's actually been around for a while. I created her way back in high school. And her original code name was Demon, and she was an evil character.
Oh no.
Wow.
But I thought Ignitia was a cooler name. So when I redesigned her, I changed her name. And hold on a second, I'll be right back.
Oh, good.
Oh, okay. Welcome back.
Sorry about the wait. So, yeah, Ignitia, she's always been a villain, but she was a lot more evil looking. Her original costume had, like, horns and stuff.
Oh my god.
It sounds very edgy, if you ask me.
So, yeah, you know, your typical high school type thing. The same friend that designed Haley originally, the original Haley, that doesn't really look like the version I have now, but, you know, that person helped create the original Ignitia.
What does Ignitia looks like? Do you have an old picture of her?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hold on. Didn't get it.
Oh my god, I didn't know that she had demonic origins.
No, she just had fire powers and stuff, and her name was Demon. She's not actually a demon.
Okay. Yeah. So, here is my version. I did kind of simplify her a little bit, but my intention was to make her Tide's rival, considering that she's fire and she's in Tide's water, so it made sense.
Right.
If I'm gonna be honest, I could probably imagine like I can imagine Captain Gaslight acting like a big brother to Ignitia, even though she probably doesn't see it that way.
Right. That would be interesting.
But yeah, I'm very excited to see her in action.
It'll be a little while. I have plans for her, but it's gonna take a while to get to them, if that makes any sense. There's a lot of other characters that have to be introduced, and several storylines that have to go through before we get to her. Sorry. If I can get to a point where I can reference them, because Ignitia is part of a street gang of alpha human thugs. You know, if we can get to a point where I can reference that street gang, then maybe she could appear a little bit earlier. But since nobody has powers yet except for a few characters, it's gonna be just a little bit.
So how does he work as a gang member? Do people actually knew about her powers? Like, you know.
Well, at the point that they're introduced, people will know.
I see. Because your setting.
Here we go.
Because your setting, it tries to keep alpha humans, you know, like a hidden thing.
Right. So that's not a long-term solution. They will eventually be revealed to everybody else. It will eventually be a thing where, you know, people will know about them.
Interesting.
So there's the character.
I should make this like some Halloween costume. She's dressed like a devil. I'm gonna go do that.
Right. So that's what I got there.
Okay, so we did.
I redesigned her during that March challenge where I created Incredible. She was one of the characters that I designed that month.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay, now we're getting to some supporting characters. We have Eric.
Yes. Can't really say too much about Eric at this point. He's Eris's little brother. He's 12. And he's a pretty decent kid. Honestly, like, you know, he plays video games, and he's probably a little bit of an edgelord. Probably plays Fortnite.
Oh no, the
You
people
know,
who are
says gamer words probably.
the people who are edgy.
Do that now? I can't hear you.
They play Call of Duty. They're, you know, the edgy people.
Very
I'm
true.
having some connection issues. I can't hear what you're saying.
Oh really? Could you actually hear me? I'm talking.
I can hear you.
I'm having some real bad connection on my end.
Oh dear. Should I restart?
I heard the oh dear. But other than that, I didn't hear what you said. Try again.
The edgy gamers play Call of Duty.
That is very true.
It's back to bad connection. Crap.
Oh no. Maybe it's in my side.
Are you under a
I'm
tunnel?
not sure, right? It could be on my side. No, I'm out in the open.
I wonder if like the trees are blocking the connection.
No, there's no trees.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go explain my version. So, I mean, as a supporting character, there's not much for me to say. I pretty much kept him true to form. I didn't really add too much detail to him. And since he's a fan of superheroes...
There's not much to add.
And since he's a fan of superheroes, I could imagine him, like, being a real big fan of Tsunami Man and some of the other heroes. And, as probably, he could probably interact with Daijiro, because he's also a little brother.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as superheroes go, he's probably going to end up being a huge fan of his older sister. He likes his older sister. He's not one of those.
That's like bratty.
I don't really like where the little kid like hates their older sibling. You know.
Couldn't be
I'm
me.
a large family myself, and that's not really how we interact with his siblings. So, as the oldest, I kind of have a perspective on that where
So not even like
younger
do you have like a bit of a rivalry on some things like video games?
Not really.
No competitions.
My younger siblings used to watch me play.
I see.
I mean, now I've got a bit of a rivalry. But that we're adults now, so that's different. As kids now, they like to watch me play. When I was a kid, I would sit there on the computer playing Age of Empires, and they would sit over my shoulder and watch me play.
Wow.
That game is really difficult for me to get into. Mostly
Age of
because
Empires.
it's really hard for me to actually use my fast brain for setting up the economy.
That's fair. I'm not very good at it, but I like to play it.
Yeah, it's just like seeing all my friends, they manage to actually like think quick on their feet, like when something goes wrong. It's hard for me to do that. Like just thinking of like different tactics, how to counter them.
Yeah, it takes some practice and some knowledge of how the game works and what the units do. As far as like how you build your army and what you should focus on building first and stuff like that. There's a lot that goes into it. It's a very, very strategic game, and you can get into it on a surface level and be okay as a player. But if you really want to be good at it, you gotta know it.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, yeah. I mean, as far as Eric Fern goes, he's a gamer. He likes likes superheroes. Probably plays Fortnite. Probably plays Roblox. He probably likes TikTok. You know, he's your typical 12-year-old.
So not a secret villain, as Impel believes.
I can't speak to that theory. I refuse to answer the question. Plead the fifth of Jack.
Alright, anyways. And the last supporting character, David Fern.
Ah, right. So Eris's dad, he is a former, well, I should say he is a retired U.S. Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. But, you know, he served in the 80s. And he's probably well into his 50s now, I believe. And he was there at the Ranger incident, by the way. Little nugget of info. He was there. He is a contractor, builds houses for a living, works with his hands, likes to hike, likes to camp.
So nothing too weird in his life.
Other than his superpowered daughter.
Typical, well, yeah, but he doesn't know that yet. Like, you know, Eris is lost in the woods. I mean,
Yes.
we haven't seen him interact yet. Although we did see their campsite in the comic. Shameless plug.
Alright. Now, with my version, again, not too much.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, I don't think there's really
Yeah,
too much to
it's
say.
pretty much the same.
Yeah. I'm glad.
Yep.
I guess that is kind of the good thing with these supporting characters. Like, there's not much to add, so there's, like, I won't have too much to change, which won't lead to any problems.
I mean, yeah, and, you know, if you do change them a little bit, it's not going to hurt it. Like, you know, you can chalk differences up to both artistic differences and also, like, interpretation differences. Kind of like how in DC, you know, you have, like, Lois Lane with short hair and kind of a tomboy look in the My Adventures with Superman. You know, but then you also have, like, Lois Lane with long hair and, you know, kind of a more girly version of her in the Superman the Animated Series. And, you know, all the movies have different versions of Lois, pretty much. Even though they're all set in the same universe. Like, except for the more recent ones that are all set, like, in the New 52 continuity, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Until they had, like, a common design thing going on between comics, between movies. The DC animated movies, all of them were different.
Very true.
There's probably like 5 or 6 different animated versions of Superman out there, easily.
Speaking of Superman, for Impel's Wish, we are going to do Mr. Liberty. So take it away.
Mr. Liberty. So this guy, he's got a bit of a fun backstory. So, way back in like 2013, I was working on English Legends. I came up with a character named Bill Wallace. And Bill was this crusty old, like, cyborg character that I came up with.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Iron. You seem to be cutting out. Oof. Jesus Christ. Nope. Still
Can you
not.
hear me now?
Yes. Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, anyways, continue.
Okay, so I created him in 2013, 2012, something like that. He was originally this old cyborg who was like the agent handler for Meteor, which is a team of heroes that includes Kaikala.
Hmm.
And they worked for what became Isia in this iteration, which was originally called the Department of World Defense, or DOWD, also known shorthand as DOWD. They, like Isia, had red coats, the elite agents who were basically, the top dogs responsible for, like, doing the hard missions. And aside from Sterling, who is one of the characters that's carried over between all the iterations of the comic, Bear was also a redcoat. That actually did carry over. Mr. Liberty works for Isia as a superhero, but he's also an agent. He's also a redcoat. So, some fun facts about him. This version of him was a fighter pilot in the 1980s. He was on the USS Ranger at the time of the Ranger incident. In fact, he was the jet plane that you see. He was the one that was flying the fighter in the first page and second page of the comic.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, as far as other information about him goes, he is basically this universe's Superman, and kind of mixed with influences of Steve Rogers. He's, very pro-America, pro-liberty, pro, protecting people. Basically exactly like Superman in that way. He's very much willing to sacrifice, his own life to save others if he has to. But, it would take an awful lot to kill him because he's super durable, he can fly, and he has super strength. So, your typical flying brick, superhero. He's basically Isia's hammer. He's their heavy hitter. And no, he doesn't have heat vision or ice breath.
Alright. I have no plans on implementing him. I want to keep the OP superheroes at a bare minimum. So, yeah.
Understandable.
I mean, I guess, like, in terms of my roster, like, I think the most OP superhero I have is Skyline Rocket. And fuck you, Impel. You're lame! Not showing up to our adoptable review, because you're the man of the hour.
So, I can understand you not wanting to implement Mr. Liberty. Besides him being OP, he's also not a cute anime girl. I get you. Who's next?
Okay.
Unless you have more questions about him.
Let's move on to Midnight.
Midnight. Right. Our sleepless gremlin. So, Midnight, I do actually have plans to have a one-shot short comic that explains her backstory, so I'm not really going to get into that now because I want to save that for later. But she has a bit of a tragic backstory. She is a bit of an insomniac, doesn't sleep well. stays up all night, takes naps during the day, falls asleep in random places. She has a talent for falling asleep in a random place and not falling over. She has fallen asleep on the top of buildings and not fallen off, stuff like that. Drinks a lot of caffeine, a lot of caffeine. Her drug of choice, of course, is Lightspeed Energy, which is a very, very, very caffeine-heavy energy drink. She always has bags under her eyes. She's very smart, but doesn't apply herself, so she's very lazy. She could get straight A's if she applied herself, but she just doesn't. She's more of a C average student. Like most of the other cast, they go to a private school. They're all seniors at the same high school. So we'll see that eventually.
So I am planning to implement her. She is probably going to be the Sayu of the series. For those of you who don't play Genshin, Sayu is this little ninja who well, I guess not sleep deprived. She likes to sleep because she believes that it'll make her grow taller. But yeah. Don't worry, I won't make her small, but I also don't want her having bags under her eyes.
Well, she is kind of small.
Oh wait.
Midnight is.
Oh really?
Short. She is.
Well, I won't make her.
There's a picture on my DeviantArt. There's a picture on my DeviantArt of the entire team cosplaying for Halloween as members of the Teen Titans.
I mean, I won't make her as small as a child.
She's not that small. She's
no, that's.
She's just way shorter than the rest of the team. If you look on my DeviantArt, look at the picture of the team as.
I can go get it. Should be.
And you'll see what I mean. She is short.
Yeah. Here.
See her? She's dressed as Raven.
Okay.
So she is canonically the shortest member of the team. She's about probably 5'2".
All right. Next up, I believe this is All-Star.
All-Star. That's Calvin Cobalt. He is the son of a detective who runs the mean streets of Bright City, or the BCPD, Bright City Police Department. Calvin has a younger brother and an older brother. He is the only one currently with alpha human powers. He has kind of a touch telekinesis thing. I kind of backed it from Superboy back in the 90s Superboy.
Ooh.
So he has super strength basically, but he has to be touching it to actually have the strength. Basically, that's what it is.
All right.
Yeah, he's pretty confident, maybe a little bit arrogant. Likes to play video games. He's your typical high school senior. He's more athletic, so probably plays on the football team.
All right. So I don't know if I'll implement him. I'll have to see more of him, honestly. Next up is Valiant, if I recall.
Valiant. Right, so Valiant is Liam Barrett. Liam is Latino. He is a kind of a mechanic savant. He's really smart with, like mechanical things like cars and radios and stuff like that. He can, take something broken and figure out what's wrong with it and fix it. That's because he actually has mechanokinesis. He can manipulate machines with his mind, and he can also like understand it. Mechanotelepathy as well, so he can like look at a piece of broken machinery or a computer, and he can intuit instantly what is broken, almost as if he was looking at like a cross section of it. He also has, above average strength because he's an alpha human, and he also is reasonably proficient in martial arts. Most likely he will be on his school's karate competition team. He's a pretty cool dude. He and All-Star are good friends.
Yeah, similar with All-Star, I'll have to see more about this guy to decide whether he'll be implemented into Demon Theater or not. Oh yeah. Next up is Nova.
Right. So Nova, I also have plans for a one-shot comic for her, so I can't get into too much about her. But you might notice that she has mechanical legs. She is actually double amputated at the knees. There is a backstory reason for that. Nova is also a bit of a tomboy. She is a very energetic, athletic girl. Before she lost her legs, she was a track and field athlete at her school. She would run to relax, she ran all the time. Like, that was her thing. And in her backstory, we'll find out how she lost her legs. But the mechanical legs that she has there were provided to her because her father works for Eon International, which is basically like a combination between Apple, Tesla, and a couple other companies, as well as maybe like Raytheon. They do military contracts, they build computers, they build baby carriages, and they build high-tech cybernetics. So she is actually test driving those legs for the company. Her father's a computer engineer in Eon, so but a little bit of influence there, kind of got her the legs.
Okay.
She is also wearing that armor, as you can see. That armor that she's wearing is also a bit of a test piloting situation. She mostly uses that armor to fight, although she has kind of a power similar to Rogue, where she can borrow other people's powers. So if she didn't have the armor, she could still fight, but she mostly uses the armor. It has, your typical Iron Man type stuff where she can fire like energy rays and stuff like that. And she does have a helmet, she just doesn't wear it all the time. That's why she has that mask.
I don't know if I'll implement her, to be honest. If I were to implement her, she would probably have to be a cyborg.
Well, I mean, she is a cyborg. She has cyborg legs.
Well, yeah.
What are you thinking? Like, are you talking about turning her like into a robot girl?
It's something like that. It's kind of like what I did with Power Tool. Because she's essentially a cyborg. Even though Impel will probably disagree with me on that. At least in his version.
I'm not familiar.
Don't worry. Fuck. I guess we'll go here. Vibe.
vibes. Yeah, she's fun. So she's one of the older characters that I've had for a while. I was working with somebody in college at the time, and we came up with the superhero team Meteor, which I've mentioned before.
Hmm.
And she's basically like the team mother kind of character. She's more mature than the other characters, and her powers are empathy. Basically, she's an empath, but more than that, she can like manipulate other people's emotional state. So she can just reach out and make you not want to fight anymore. You know?
Interesting.
Yeah, basically make you lose the will to fight. So she's pretty OP for a character with very little combat capability. At least as far as like actually punching something.
Hmm.
It's all mental for her. And it's not to say that she's entirely OP because, there are limitations to what she can do. Her powers do have a drawback in that her emotional state can also be changed by what's around her. So if there's a lot of people who are angry around her, it can also cause her to be angry. Or if there's a lot of people sad, it would cause her to be sad, that kind of thing. Basically, she would absorb what's going on around her as well. So it takes a lot of effort for her to exert her feelings instead of, just receiving feelings instead.
Alright.
So it's a very tricky pattern.
Okay.
Yeah, she's fun. Also, I have a plan for her later to get some more combat capability. I think you'll probably like it, but I'm not going to reveal that just yet.
Alright. Next, Zenith.
Zenith, right. So he is Keith Tannhäuser. He is German. So if you're not familiar with ISIA, the International Security and Intelligence Agency, they are basically a NATO organization. So all of the NATO member states contribute people to this organization, which is kind of a combination of the Men in Black and the SCP Foundation and Delta Green. They are kind of, very covert. Anyway.
Uh-oh. I think your audio's, fucking up.
What?
Is it good? Can you... Iron?
I'm still here.
Okay, good. We're good.
I'm still here.
Continue.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Just let me know when my connection is good again.
Don't worry, you're good. Continue. Continue.
How's my connection now?
You're good. Continue.
Okay, so what was the last thing you heard?
I don't remember.
What did it? Okay, so yeah, so he was raised by a German scientist that was contributed to the project when they were creating alpha human subjects. He is the leader of the team. No, actually no. Correct. Let me correct that. He is more like the second in command of the team. It has been a while. The leader of the team.
Okay, now you're cutting out.
But yeah, he has light powers, but he's different from Solaris. He cannot fly. He can't like turn into light or anything like that, but he can like use light has a kind of a super speed boost, and he can do short, like super speed hops forward, like jump forward 30 feet instantly. So he's kind of a super speedster, but using light, and he can also shoot energy beams out of his hands and create light shields and stuff like that. So he's pretty cool.
Interesting.
But that's his main party trick, is the super speed.
Okay. Next is Locke, or Flukes.
Flux. He is one of the characters that I was talking about earlier, if you remember when I was talking about Kaikala.
Mm-hmm.
He was the character that was paired with Kaikala. I sent you the picture in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Canonically, he and Kaikala did date at one point, but they broke up. Flux is kind of a jerk. He's very self-centered, arrogant. He's the leap before you think kind of character. He can use his powers to turn his body into whatever he's touching. Like if he's touching concrete, his body will turn into concrete. If he's touching like steel, his body will turn into steel.
I see.
Stuff like that. That's why his superhero name is Flux. He can take on attributes of stuff like liquids as well, if he really wants to. So he's got a lot of combat potential. He's pretty much the team heavy hitter. Well, him and Kakala.
Alright. Okay. Next one. This one I'm very curious of. Shift.
Yes. So, Shift and her brother are actually, pretty much the same in terms of power set. Shift is a werewolf.
Really?
Yep. She is going to be introduced later. She kind of got her powers independently of like the other stuff going on, and she and her brother Cirrus both can like morph their bodies into lycanthropes, werewolves.
Interesting.
I have a plan for a story for them. Not sure exactly when that'll get implemented, but I had a lot of fun coming up with their design. I think it's cute.
Alright. I honestly would have thought that she'd be like some super speedster or something, but okay.
I wanted Shift to be like kind of an oblique reference to her shapeshifter abilities.
Next is Mercury.
Yes. Classic super speedster. I've had her character for a while. Created her back in middle school alongside Haley and several others. Her original name was Jessie Mercury, I believe. Or maybe it was Jenny Mercury.
Jenny Mercury sounds more original.
She's always had super speed. She was even more Flash ripoff before, but I like how she is now. not sure exactly when she's going to get implemented, but I want her to be part of the Eclipse team. So most likely Impel will be drawing her sooner rather than later.
Alright. Next is Lark.
And one of her original costumes was gray, by the way. Gray and blue.
Interesting.
So, Mark, you were saying?
Lark.
Oh, Lark. Yeah, so Lark, she's another one of those challenge characters from last March. She is a Chimera Alpha Human, which is a subset of Alpha Human that has animal DNA. Basically, there's a mad scientist that will eventually be introduced that has this specialty of doing, like, body manipulation type stuff, like the Chimera Alpha Humans, or doing stuff to, like, modify how people look. Like, he's basically going to create cat girls.
Jeez.
Yeah, there are cat girls in the comic universe because of that mad scientist character. Just a little fun fact for you.
So that explains why you asked Impel to draw some cat girls.
Yeah, there are cat girls in the comic. Besides Faye, there's actual cat girls.
Oh, we'll get to Faye. Actually, let's get to Faye right now. Let's get to Faye now. Where is she? Oh, here.
Sure, she's around somewhere.
Here it is. So go ahead.
Right, so Faye is, of course, a cat girl. But the reason for that is because she actually read Eris's mind to create a more amenable form to appear to Eris. She is actually an alien intelligence that is living within the seed of Rizia that Eris found, the magical hammer that she has. Faye is basically permanently attached to that magical hammer, sort of a guardian for it. And also, she's a bit like Paimon if you see her in the comic.
Oh
she kind of floats around and provides advice for Eris. So.
Oh my god.
There is that.
That's really funny that you say that, because I'm actually thinking of making, like, this comic. I don't know if I'll... it's gonna involve my characters, but basically I was thinking of making Faye Paimon. And the scenario is based on Jello Apocalypses, so this is basically Genshin.
Nice. So, but yeah, that would actually fit her pretty well.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, for actually implementing her into Deviant Theater, I don't know. I mean, probably at the very least, she would probably be a mythical creature rather than some alien creature.
Right, I know you don't do aliens, really.
But yeah, it's funny how we both thought of Paimon.
Well, it just kind of wound up that way. It must have been, like, on my brain when I was drawing her, because I went and created her chibi form so that, she could follow Eris around later on in the comic. Shameless plug. And the way that I drew her, she just ended up looking like Paimon. I was like, oh, well, I guess she kind of is. That's basically how that ended up being. But yeah, she actually is, like, like I said, she can take on whatever form that works. So there's actually a panel in the comic where she's the same as the being that owned the hammer before, and she has like 4 arms.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's in the comic.
Now, all Faye needs to do to be more like Paimon is be bitchy and have a huge appetite.
And also be emergency food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, Nightclaw.
Yep. So, remember what I was saying about Lark and the Chimera Alpha humans?
So he's another victim?
Yeah, Nightclaw used to be a regular human. Her DNA got rewritten by the mad scientist and she got turned into a cat girl. Yeah, so she's like a real life furry. She actually has all those feline features. She has the ears and the tail, but she also has like fur.
I just want to pet her.
I imagine it'd be pretty soft. So Nightclaw, she's got, pretty above average reflexes, agility, that sort of thing. Basically cat powers. I think that was pretty much all the power she was going to get was that, she's just really, really good at fighting.
Interesting.
I don't know. Her powers may change.
Yeah, she'll probably sprout rings.
No, she'll probably end up being a little bit more like Wolverine with like razor claws or something. Not like growing out of the back of the hand like Wolverine, but like, out of her fingers.
All right.
So more like what's her name? Lady Deathstroke? No, Lady. Oh gosh, what was her name? You know what I'm talking about? The one she was in the original X-Men series.
Impel says Lady Deathstroke.
Lady Deathstroke. Okay, right. Anyway, yeah. So it's probably like that, like with the razor claws.
All right. Next is Claymore.
Claymore. Another one of the original members of the Minutemen. He is an asshole. That's his biggest attribute. He is a jerk.
Big jerk.
So.
He is German. He's a jerk, but he's also very powerful. You could almost consider him to be like Bakugo. His powers, he can create like explosions and fire. He can fly as well, but yeah, he can control explosions.
Sounds like Detonator Woman's got some competition.
Yes, he does.
Oh, interesting. All right.
Well, yeah, that's his big thing. Like, Impel will probably be familiar, but if he remembers the character Boom Boom, that can create like little explosive golf ball things, that sort of thing, he can do that.
You mean Bombella? You mean Bombella?
Yeah, like from X-Men Evolution.
Oh, okay.
Boom Boom that created like little explosives.
All right.
Anyway, but yeah, he's the reason why he calls himself Claymore is because he's a living explosive. Claymore, like the mine.
Oh. Very interesting.
Right.
Okay, next up is
So not Claymore, a sword.
Not the sword, the explosive.
Oh,
well, he probably could wield a claymore.
This one could. This is my universe's Wonder Woman,
Ugh.
Minerva. She is super strong. She can fly, and she actually has the same power set as Eris. That spear, if you look at near the head,
Hmm.
you might notice that there's kind of a familiar detail.
Yes.
Yeah, so Minerva has actually got armor like Eris. She has, she has a similar situation that Eris does.
Hmm.
Yeah. And she is a member of the Minutemen. And she's pretty cool. So she's Irish.
Irish? She looks, Romanian. Not Romanian, Roman. Because of the...
I mean, her armor is, yeah, but she's Irish.
Interesting.
The person beneath the armor is Irish. Her last name is O'Malley.
Oh, that is true.
Mariana O'Malley.
a very Irish surname.
Yes, she is Irish.
Alright. Next is this guy. Dr. Henry West. Mm-hmm.
You may remember I brought up a company called Eon International.
Yes.
That guy is the CEO.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the one that created the company. He started out in his garage building computers in the 1970s.
Mm.
In the Eclipse universe, he's the one who came up with an affordable home desktop computer first. So he beat
He beat
Steve Jobs and Elon. Steve Jobs and
Elon Musk.
not Elon. Dang it. Bill Gates.
Yes.
He beat them to it. He created a powerful but affordable computer and basically revolutionized computing and electronics. His company is the biggest tech company, surpassing what Apple in our universe is.
So what is operating system called?
Probably like Eon something.
Eon Enterprise.
Probably something like Eon View or something.
Hmm.
I don't know. But if you look at the comic as you read through, you'll notice that there's logos on like all the electronics, like the phones, and the laptops and stuff. That's the Eon logo.
And that's how you know he's watching.
He's actually not a bad guy though. The funny thing is he's actually a decent person, and he was responsible for one of the rounds of creating Alpha Humans. His company helped do it, so he's actually completely aware of the situation and has his own team. In fact, the characters that were just introduced in Chapter 4 are part of his team.
Hmm.
Tempest is Eon's team.
Interesting.
Yeah. All of it's really quiet, of course, but later on, once superheroes are revealed to the world, we'll see like how Eon kind of shows off the team. Like if you're familiar with Vought and the boys,
Oh yeah.
and all the commercial marketing and stuff with like TV shows and action figures and things like that. That'll be a thing. That'll absolutely be a thing.
Oh my god. Well, okay, so I think I might plan on implementing this guy. He's probably gonna be friends with Gerard Ryder, aka Skyline Rocket's father. And he's probably gonna be the one providing a majority of the technology that Ryder Media uses.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like I said, they make everything from jet planes to baby carriages. Eon even owns a car company. So they make cars, they make laptops, they make phones, they make food. If you're familiar with Umbrella Corporation, Eon is basically Umbrella without being evil.
Oh, nice.
There are other companies.
So an ideal idea of a company, of a big company.
A company that isn't totally corrupt. Yeah. Because he controls the company culture. So he controls, as CEO, he controls kind of like Wayne Enterprises was in Batman the Animated Series with Bruce Wayne in charge.
I am actually thinking a bit of like Game Deal.
Yeah, a little bit like that. Yeah, Dr. West would be well thought of by everyday people. He spends a lot of his company's profits going into third world countries and building wells and providing good food and clean water to people who need it.
So he's a Mr. Beast.
Kind of. I mean, he's older. He's in his 60s. So.
An older Mr. Beast then.
Well, but yeah, people like him. He's well thought of.
Alright. Next is Elena West.
Elena is Dr. West's older daughter. She is actually pretty down to earth for being a billionaire's kid. She goes to the same school as most of the other characters. She is friends with Tempest because, they spend a lot of time in Excelsior Tower, which is the Bright City Eon headquarters. She actually has powers.
Wait, really? What kind of powers?
Magic.
Oh, magic. Interesting. Yeah. So I might implement her along with her younger sister, which we'll get to soon. But I could imagine her being friends with us.
Yeah, she has magic.
Oh.
And what's cool about Elena West is, she also occasionally tests out stuff just like Lane, Nova. We were talking about her earlier, testing out the legs and testing out the armor. Elena also does that sort of thing. So sometimes she can show up in the comic wearing battle armor.
Interesting.
Test it out for the military. Perks of being daddy's little girl. She gets to try out stuff like that. She's also a senior in high school.
Yeah, I could probably see her being friends with Skyline Rocket.
Yeah, they'd probably get along.
And now for the younger sister, Lonnie West.
She's 14. She's a little bit bratty, but she's got a good heart. Definitely a bit of sarcasm. She would probably hang out with some of the younger cast, but she's a little bit brattier than her older sister. She's a little bit, stuck up just a bit. All that money.
Money.
But she's still relatively tolerable to hang out with, so we'll see her, I'm sure.
Next up is Contessa Winters.
What?
Contessa Winters.
I'm having trouble hearing what you were saying, I'm sorry.
Contessa Winters. Haley's sister.
Oh. Yeah, Tessa. She's about the same age. She's either 12 or 14, about the same age as Lonnie is. In fact, they go to the same school. They might even be friends. I haven't decided just yet. Tessa is Haley's bratty younger sister. Although she does very much love her older sister. She pretends not to. She's a lot more the type that antagonizes the older sibling, but she does actually love Haley, even if she pretends she doesn't.
Impel actually asked the question.
Who would win, Scarlet Rocket or Skyline Rocket? Oh my god. I mean, they are the same thing.
I'm voting for Scarlet Rocket.
God.
The red team. Red team.
I'm voting for red.
How about you get your butt in here?
But yeah, she's a fun little character. She's actually one of the original concepts for Haley that I fleshed out a bit from way back, like I said, like 2006. She was one of the concept sketches that my friend drew, and I went back and kind of looked at that and then brought the design forward and kind of updated it a little bit to create the character. I figured it worked since she's supposed to be Haley's younger sister. So I thought it was a cool little homage.
Interesting. Next up is Dr. Riley. I believe we've seen her in the Alpha Humans comic.
We have, as a matter of fact. Dr. Riley is the brain behind Project Pantheon. No, excuse me, Project Apex. Pantheon was the first attempt, and Apex was the second. So she is Eon's chief scientist, but also does work for Isia. By that I mean she does work for Isia, not that she works for Isia, if that makes any sense. But yeah, she's a geneticist. She figured out several of the tricks that they use to create alpha humans. Figured out how to make adults turn into alpha humans. It is a bit of a tricky process, and the reason why there aren't superheroes everywhere at this point is because it's very difficult to do. But yeah, she's super smart, and she's also an old flame of Sterling's. The two of them dated briefly.
Okay.
She's also been around since the first iteration of the comic. She has changed a lot, though.
Certainly has.
she's been made a little bit younger. She was originally a lot older.
Hmm.
You can kind of see she's got a bit of that whimsical with the Converses. You know, she's your really smart scientist, but kind of a wunderkind kind of thing, where she was, you know, graduated from college when she was about 16, that sort of thing. Very high IQ, stuff like that.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
I think I forgot this one. This one. Octavia Evangeline Hawke.
Yes, Octavia. She's probably one of my other favorite characters, you know, besides Kaikala. I created her way back in the day. I was and still am a huge fan of Hawk Girl from the Justice League cartoon.
Interesting.
Always been a huge fan of Hawk Girl. Well, specifically that version of Hawk Girl. So I wanted to create my own winged character. Fun fact, she's actually, at least originally, influenced and inspired by a character from a comic called Elguna Shive. It's a webcomic that was created way back in the day, like 2002.
Really?
Oh, so.
And Elguna Shive.
Shive.
Hold on, I'll type it.
Sorry, just don't know how to pronounce it. Well.
There you go.
Shive.
Let's go.
Yeah, you can Google it. You'll be able to find it. It's been running for over 24 years, so it's still going as far as I know. I haven't read in a while. I need to catch up.
It looks like about, you know, dialogue.
But so there was a character in the comic, and I read this way back, like way back in the day, and there was a character named Grace, and she was like this experiment that escaped from a lab that was being chased by bad guys. And, you know, I was like in middle school at the time, so I created my own character that was kind of like that because I thought that was a cool character idea. And so her first iteration, she was basically being chased by the bad guys and got saved by one of my other characters.
Interesting.
But eventually I actually kind of completely retooled her character and made her kind of a badass. She actually she has telekinesis as well. She fights with these knives. They're like sheathed on her back, like hidden from view, and she can like telekinetically like throw them at people. So she's really cool like that, and you know, I've always liked winged characters, and I still do. So
Interesting.
like I said, probably one of my huge favorite characters. Always has been. She is actually the leader of Meteor. Originally, she was actually, like I said, she was working with Eclipse. They were like on the run from the government in the original comic, and she was with that team. But then later on, when I redid her character in Eclipse Legend, I made her work with the bad guys. She was Sterling's partner. And then when I rebooted everything, she ended up being the leader of Meteor instead. That's why Keith isn't the leader anymore, because Pavia is.
Interesting. Okay. Next up is Nightingale.
Nightingale. That's Haley and Tessa's mother.
Really?
Yep.
Oh. Why didn't I see that before? Anyways.
Yeah, so that's Rebecca Winters. She is Haley and Tessa's mother. She's kind of based off of Black Canary. She has a sonic voice.
Huh.
She is also a member of the Minutemen, by the way.
Interesting. I'll keep that in mind.
And she's actually a former Air Force pilot. She was Bill's wingman. Mr. Liberty. Yeah, she was his wingman back in the day.
Interesting.
Yeah, and she currently works for ISIA as well. She's one of their government agents. You'll see her. She'll show up. I can guarantee that.
Very interesting. Alright. Next up is Saint.
Which one?
Saint.
Saint. Oh, right. So he's another one of those characters that I created for that challenge. He is. Otaku, have you ever seen like the Justice League cartoon?
Yeah, I vaguely remember.
Okay, so do you remember the episode of Justice League Unlimited where they introduce Captain or what's his name, Shazam, Mr. Marvel or whatever?
It's
Billy Batson.
Yes, it's Shazam.
Yeah. I can't remember if they called him Shazam or Marvel in the...
I mean, back in the day, they called him Captain Marvel, but when Shazam got purchased by DC, and I guess, I don't know, some weird things happened, he's now Shazam.
Right. So you remember the episode where Superman and Shazam fought each other and destroyed Luthor's, like, low-income housing stuff?
I mean, I remember being introduced to Shazam, but I didn't watch the whole episode.
So he was kind of introduced as a rival to Superman.
Very true.
In that episode. Anyway, Saint is kind of like that with Mr. Liberty. He's also got super strength, flight, and super durability. He's also, really nice guy. But he's very competitive. So, kind of like, for him it's a friendly competition. And Bill's pretty good about it too, but they have a bit of a friendly rivalry.
I see.
He's probably the second strongest member of the team behind Bill.
Alright. Next one is... Actually, I don't even know if this is part of the Alpha Humans.
Oh, he's not mine.
Oh.
He's not mine. He's a cameo. He's a friend's character.
Okay, I guess I'll do this guy, Jacob Spite.
Okay, yeah, Spite. Back in college, friends of mine and I got together and played some tabletop games. We had a homebrew game that was set in my universe. This was one of the players' characters.
Hmm.
Spite was kind of a more aggressive version of Vibes. He had like the ability to create emotional damage on people. Like he could like attack you with his powers and like damage your mental health, basically. That's why his name was Spite.
Makes
It's really
sense.
cool. It played out really well in the game.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he's kind of like a psychic character that can do psychic damage to people. If that helps explain it.
All right. Next is Erica Lawson.
Ah, yes. So Erica Lawson, she's a redcoat, obviously, as you can see. She is actually going to feature heavily in a project that I haven't been able to launch yet, but will someday. She and Sterling both joined Isia at the same time. They're old friends. She is the agent handler for Meteor. Replacing Bill in that role.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see. Those characters. There's Agent Caroline Carter.
She's kind of a shared character between me and my friend Raisha. So, not much to say about her. She works for the UN. She would probably show up as an antagonist.
An antagonist?
Yeah, the UN doesn't really get along with Isia. They've got a kind of a competition thing going. They've got their own organization.
Like, is it just... Okay, it's probably not, like, super-powered people. It's probably just, like... It's probably, like, the SWAT team or something.
No, they've got super-powered people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but the UN controls them, and they're kind of concerned with different things than Isia is. So they and Isia tend to butt heads.
Interesting. Alright. I don't know if I want to, like, go through the whole thing. Oh, wait. There's this character. Elise Graves.
Oh, Elsie. Yeah.
Oh.
She's a reporter.
Really? She doesn't look like
Yeah.
it.
Well, she is. She is kind of a reporter in training. She's like an intern type thing.
Ah, that makes sense.
And, she hasn't gotten her big scoop yet, but she's working on it. And all I can really say right now, without spoiling things, and I'm not going to, is that she and Eris know each other.
Really?
That's all I can really say.
Okay. Okay, I don't know if I really want to go through the entirety of all these characters, especially how unorganized it is. Next is President...
Yeah, sorry about that.
Next is President Gabriel Knox.
Yes, the President. Yes. President Knox is the President in at least the very beginning of the Alpha Humans. He knows about the superheroes because he's the President, so of course he has to know. He's a pretty cool dude. Likes classic cars. He was a mayor, and then he was a governor, and then he became president. So he kind of worked his way up from being a little guy. He has done a lot of programs to, help like homeless people and military vets and stuff like that. He's generally well regarded. He has a very high approval rating. He he is on his first term. So, pretty cool dude.
Alright.
Yep.
Next is
And that's his vice president.
Arya Stone.
So Vice President Stone, she is Knox's vice president. She was also his lieutenant governor. That's basically the vice president, but the governor. So she's been with him as a politician since pretty much the beginning. They've been friends for a very long time. And she is basically his heir apparent as far as like when he finishes his second term, because everybody assumes that he's going to be a two-termer. You know, they're basically like, yeah, she's probably going to run, and she's probably going to win.
Alright. Next is Dr. Sidney Carver.
Dr. Carver, she's kind of like Dr. Riley. They work in the same lab. Well, she works specifically for Isia. Dr. Riley's kind of on the loan, but they work together. Sydney's kind of more of a loose cannon. She kind of bends the rules a little bit, or ignores them. She's really, really smart, and kind of, you know, like, not your traditional boring kind of scientist. I don't really think scientists are boring, but a lot of people do. You know, she's like, if you think of Abby from NCIS, the goth chick, she's more like that. You know, and she did have a goth phase when she was in college.
Interesting.
So she's cool. She's cool. I like her.
Next is Investigator
Yeah,
Clyde.
yeah, Clyde is basically her right-hand man. He's like this tall, silent type that, you know, has been paired up with her doing, you know, scientific research pretty much since the beginning. He doesn't say a lot, but he's very smart, and usually when he says something, you know, it's worth paying attention to. He's that kind of person. Pretty cool dude.
Oops. Okay. Next up is Doc Stephen Monroe.
Remember that mad scientist that creates cat girls?
That's him?
Yeah,
Oh.
that's him.
Well, why does he want to create cat girls?
For science!
So he's that type of person.
You know, he's very mad. He's a very mad scientist. He's a nut.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I imagine if I implemented him, he would probably know Dr. Bubblegum and Paracelsus.
Probably. He does a lot of experiments involving, like, changing the human body, so he would probably be a huge fan. I have no doubt that he would probably have studied Elastica, for instance,
Interesting.
to try and figure out how our powers work.
Let's see. Okay, now we're gonna get to Brother Dan Vernon.
Aha! Can't talk too much about Dan Vernon right now. He will be showing up very shortly in the comic.
Alpha humans?
Mm-hmm.
Ah. I'm guessing the same is with Sister Kelly and Brother Braun.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So what I can say about those two, or all three of them, is that they are all part of a organization, basically a church that helps homeless people in Bright City. They are called the Children of Rizia.
Interesting.
And their goal is to help people and spread the good word about the power of the universe.
Oh, so I guess it's kind of like they're like the Knights of the Holy Grail.
Kind of. They believe that magic is real, and they believe that humans can use it.
Interesting. Should we talk about Cyrus Shaw? I mean, we're getting close to like all these characters, unless there's more than enough.
Cyrus Shaw is Shift's older brother.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a werewolf.
All right.
He is a werewolf. He is a character that has been in my kind of back catalog for years, and he's always been a werewolf. There was a time when I had both werewolves and vampires in my universe, and they were kind of at odds with each other, and he was teamed up with a vampire named Michael.
Sounds like Impel's universe, where it's all horror themed.
Michael hasn't been in the Eclipse verse for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's just kind of a real stylish guy.
Yeah, I feel like we've pretty much gotten through like all these characters. There is one character. Our deputy commander for Iza.
Oh, yeah, the deputy director.
Yes, I'll be implementing her.
Yeah, so deputy director Lena Henson. She is. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Alright, so Lena Henson. So she's one of the deputy directors of Isia. She's basically in charge of the Bright City area. Not too much is really known about her at this point, except she's, in charge, and she's pretty cool. Maybe a bit of a sadistic streak. That's not confirmed. Yeah, we've seen her a few times in the comics so far.
Yeah. So I may
And
implement.
we will,
Go ahead.
we'll see her again. We'll see her a lot.
Yeah.
Since she is in charge of Isia's local command, basically.
Yeah. That's why I am probably going to be implementing her. Yeah, I think this is pretty much all the characters you have on hand.
There's a few others, but that's okay. You missed Sterling.
Sterling? Did I miss? Where?
Agent Sterling.
I'll go look. I don't think you made art. Oh. There.
Yeah, so Agent John Sterling, he's like the top dog. He's one of Isia's best field agents. He is not magical and has no powers, but he's considered to be very, very dangerous. He has appeared in every iteration of every comic that I've done.
Jeez.
Yep. And fun fact, he first started out as a government agent named John Smith. And then he was James Sterling, or Jim Sterling. And then he became John Sterling.
Alright.
Yep. He's cool. He's a badass.
Alright. Guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on my characters?
So I have like an entire gallery of the characters that I do plan on implementing. So yeah.
Out of curiosity, what are your top 5 favorite characters from my comic, or from my universe? I know what one is.
You know it's tied. And then there's also Solaris. And then there's Incredible. And I guess Ignitia and Mineral Maiden.
Okay.
So that's 1, 2, 3.
So,
Yeah.
Nightfall, Solaris, Incredible, Mineral Maiden, and Ignition. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Do you have any more questions for me?
No. And Impel's still not killed.
Do you have any questions, JJ?
I think he zoned out. He's dead. Because Impel's not
he's
killed.
dead.
Impel, it's your fault. You killed him. He zoned out.
It's tragic. It's so tragic. I'm so sad. Life will never be the same.
And now he won't participate in the upcoming auction.
Nah, I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
Alright, well, if you don't have any more questions for me, I'm probably gonna go rest. It's been a really long day.
Yes, I'm gonna have to change this entire stream. Because Impel is not cooperating with us. Yes. Thank you guys for watching.
We might have to reschedule.
Yep. Thank you guys for watching, and we shall see you next time. Bye-bye.
I was like ready like a 3 hours.
Thank you. Goodbye.
And then I had to do all this stuff.
Oh my god. Look who decided